Welcome to the first episode of Led by Curiosity. My name is Konu Boy, and today I'm interviewing a good friend of mine from New Orleans in the US. Travis and I met in Stockholm, Sweden, both on separate paths, but on our way to Russia for the World Cup in 2018. And today we talk about the Russia World Cup, our favourite beers, Trav's almost 12-month road trip around Australia, how he and his now girlfriend Hannah are living in Germany, and some of his favourite places that he's been in the 50 plus countries that he has visited. For the Aussies watching this, I think you'll find value in some of the off-the-grid places he has been and recommends. And with our international borders remaining shut for the foreseeable future, we could use this as an opportunity to see some of our amazing country. Along with these tips and a few short stories from our nights on the piss, this good-hearted American has recounted some of his funny memories from our 3-night, 4-day hike through Wilson's Promontory in Victoria. I hope you find some value in this, whether it be some travel tips or just a laugh. But thank you for being here, and hopefully you have a bit of fun listening. Cheers, guys. Enjoy. What's been happening? Have you met the in-laws yet?
No, they're due in probably in about 3 hours. So we got about maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Man, Furfies, man, you have to send some over.
I went and picked up a box this afternoon.
Oh, shit, man. Have you know Bex?
Yeah, Bex are good.
So Bex is brewed in Bremen, where we're at.
Oh yeah, nice. So that's
It's the local beer.
Yeah. Well, let's start it off, I suppose, by we met in Sweden, in Stockholm, didn't we? So
we did. We I think that what I can remember at least, we at the Generator Hostel in Stockholm.
Yeah.
And I go to the bar, I was only there like the first day. Go to the bar, go have a beer, and there's this like nice, pretty blonde chick sitting on the bar, kind of minding her own business. So I kind of like, sit over there too and start chatting. And all of a sudden this big, loud, crazy, bald tattoo guy comes bum rushing behind us with a group of about 6 other people. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You're on like some celebrity TV show or something. And come to find out, y'all all knew each other from, nights before. And, yeah, that was the beginning of the craziness, I would say.
I think it was that night we ended up going out because, like, must have been May or June then, I think.
Yeah.
And, like it was my first time in Scandinavia, or like, the northern sort of European countries. And I couldn't believe how light it was still at like we went out on a massive night. Like I think we ended up going to some club, but it was like still light at like 3 a.m. I thought I'm used to walking out of clubs at that time, but yeah, not when it's bright light. It was
no, it was dark. Yeah, I mean it was bright still, and it was some kind of outdoor like under a bridge.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like a bridge, and they had this like plastic sheeting, and they had ping pong tables set up and a big bar, and the place was packed.
Yeah, it was a good joint, and the Swedish women were obviously quite nice to look at. They lived up to the reputation.
Yeah, and I don't remember exact details. Who did it? Maybe me, maybe you. I don't remember. Someone jumped on a table and broke the table.
That was you.
In the back.
That's right.
In the back of the bar.
That's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, might have been.
Oh, it was
That's
definitely you.
That's
It was
sort of
like a tiny
stop.
little round table, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
it was big enough for like 1 foot, and I managed to get my fat ass up there, and yeah, I lasted about 30 seconds, and I think I like sprayed. I probably sprayed half the crowd with my beer, and totally busted my ass. But yeah,
oh yeah, I know, but no, because it was so busy. Like fuck all, people actually knew noticed
oh,
too.
it
Oh,
was
man.
packed.
I
It was
forgot,
packed.
forgot all about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that.
That was good fun.
And then yeah,
Yeah,
we obviously I was just starting my trip. That was my first stop, and then yeah, we decided we'd end up. Well, I was already on my way to Russia for the World Cup, which obviously you were going there too. Now, I think was it St. Petersburg that we met up in, or was it
yeah, yeah.
Moscow? Yeah.
Yeah, St. Petersburg. So you were that night was like your last night, and y'all were hopping on. I think y'all were doing one of these booze cruises deals across. Right? You were leaving
Yeah,
Stockholm
we ended
on a
up. I think we're getting
cruise or
on
something.
a train to Kazan or something like that. I can't remember. Or do you mean the day thing?
No, no, no. Before Russia, when you left
Oh, yeah,
Stock.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got on one of those booze cruises to
Yeah,
Finland.
yeah, yeah, and then worked your way to St. Petersburg, I believe.
Yeah,
And then I was maybe 4 or 5 days, later, and yeah, we met in St. Petersburg. You had some of your Aussie mates, some of your close friends, some of your buddies there.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, Gotti and Danny and the rest of the crew.
Hamster and yeah,
Amps.
no, we met up and
Uh,
we,
that was.
what was it? It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We met up at some Irish pub and
Oh yeah, it was bad. So anytime I'm trying to drink beer with you Aussies, it's a bit of a challenge to try to keep up. I would say more than a bit of a challenge. I like to drink beer, but y'all are on a different level. I mean, obviously.
yeah, it
So
was
yeah, day drinking, middle of the day. Uh, yeah, I think it was like maybe 4 o'clock. We were there for maybe a couple hours. It's probably like 2 o'clock we got there. Every shot of vodka, skull of beer, shot of vodka, skull of beer. After doing that a handful of times, I was seeing pretty loopy. Yeah,
I think
middle of the day,
we all were, mate.
shit face, you know. But it was an awesome time, man. We got to meet all your friends and kind of set up the rest of the adventure, for me in
Yeah,
Russia at least.
yeah, it was. It was mate, that was a great trip. There's some good games. It was just
Yeah,
unbelievable atmosphere. Like, sort of, I didn't really know what to expect going to Russia, just because, like
yeah,
no one's. I didn't know anyone that had ever travelled there before, and like with such harsh visa restrictions and everything like that, the World Cup ticket was just like the bonus. Like, it was sort of like, obviously wanted to go there and
yeah.
experience another World Cup, but to go and see Russia, which was phenomenal. Yeah, can't
It
even say
was
it. Phenomenal. How do you say it?
phenomenal. Yeah, you're saying it right.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah, phenomenal, phenomenal. No, it's good. I
But
would, I,
yeah, like,
I
that was
would agree,
just
yeah,
something completely fucking out of this world. That country, like Moscow, is incredible. Kazan, Samara, yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful country it is,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
people were so friendly.
They were very friendly. I think every bar, every place I went to have a drink, someone bought us a shot.
Yeah,
Along the way, almost everywhere. And
yeah,
for me, Russia wasn't planned at all. Like my trip started maybe about a month before we met, and I was in the UK mostly. And someone there basically said, "Man, you're thinking about going to the World Cup. It's in Russia. You're not too far away." And I started talking about how hard the visa was, and I really didn't want to go through that process. I'm trying to do, the easy countries first. And they told me about the whole, if you buy a ticket to any match, you get a free visa. It's like a golden ticket, basically. And that's what got me interested. So that's what if it wasn't for that dude I met in Scotland or Ireland or wherever, I
yeah,
would have never even made it. But I'm glad because it was definitely one of the most beautiful countries I went to in all my travels, and like you said, people were nice. The atmosphere was just
Yeah,
you
it's
couldn't.
crazy.
No football game at home or no sporting event I've ever been to comes even close to that type of atmosphere.
Mate, oh
Thank-
yeah. When we were in Moscow after one of the Russia games, we seen this guy getting dragged down the street in a fucking bathtub full of beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
If it was with you or not too, but in Russia, like in Moscow, the lights they had strung all through the city. I think one of the games there was dudes like climbing the light poles, yanking these fucking lights, and the cops are just sitting there like watching them, like they just destroy shit. And yeah,
yeah,
you get your at home for sure, but the atmosphere was amazing, man. It was.
it was one like the World Cup. I'd encourage anyone to go to one in their life. Like I'll be if we're ever allowed to leave Australia again, I'll be going to the one in Doha. So
Yeah,
um,
or yeah, yeah.
we'll have to sort of see what happens there because the restrictions here are pretty tight at the moment. I'm not even allowed to leave my fucking house for more than 1 hour a day. It's ridiculous, mate. Hence the reason why this is sort of starting now because I'm bored out of my brain and I just want to relive some of my memories and yeah, like it's sort of something I've wanted to sort of do for a while and or like thought of I wanted to do something else for a while and just sort of thought what better way to sort of get rid of the boredom by chatting to some mates, reliving some memories and yeah, just sort of seeing where it goes really. I don't really know where it's going to go, but it is exciting and like apart from that it's just nice. Like when's the last time I actually had a chat to you? Like I would have been
Ooh,
like we've
man.
had a couple of like voice messages on WhatsApp and stuff, but it's been like a
Yeah,
few months since we had a good catch up.
yeah. I'd say for sure, at least maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe longer. Maybe since end of the year, pretty much, or
Yeah,
beginning of the year that we've
yeah,
had
I
actual
know. Yeah, it
chat.
probably was actually because I remember like I was still talking to you a fair bit when I was living in Mexico, um,
Yeah,
but then yeah, like yeah, so social media is a good way to sort of keep in contact and all this, but yeah,
it,
it's always good to have a proper chat.
it is, man. I'm happy to do. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to actually spend some time and chat with you. Parks all around, places to go, lots of outdoor activities, and I'm finally kind of free to do that. Here in Germany, it's you need a mask to go in a store or go on a train, public transportation, all that kind of stuff. But other than that, the lakes, the parks, the water, everything's wide open. People are just flocking every day to these little lakes. They have like 5-minute bike ride,
Yeah,
beautiful little lake, and they got a little beach, a little sandy area, and it's packed every day. Parks are packed every day, so I've really got
Germany's
no,
Germany's so green too.
dude. It's green. It's very green, and like at home for me, back in the States, we don't have any parks like they have here. Like I mean, you have them in Australia, but here even more so. It's a whole system. It's a whole part of the government. These parks. It's huge money that they put into these recreational and parks. Uh, it's a whole department basically. We don't have that at home. We've got
Yeah,
maybe like in New Orleans, there's one or two big parks, and they're pretty run down, and they're a bit far out the way. Everybody's got to drive to them for the most part, unless you live in one of these $1 million condos, real close. But other than that, it's not accessible. We're
and
here,
this is in New
you know,
Orleans, like or New Orleans.
Nolans, New
Yeah,
Orleans, Ola, call it what you will. I would say probably the most normal way people say it is New Orleans or New
yeah,
Orleans. But
yeah.
I'd just say no. Yeah, you just
No,
kind of blended
yeah,
Nolans, you know. And if you
yeah,
say
no,
no, if you know NOLA, which basically stands for NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana.
yeah,
If you know NOLA, then most people know if you're fairly familiar with it. It's not a common term
yeah.
everybody uses. So So if you throw that out there to somebody back home during your travels, they'll know a little bit at least about New Orleans, you know. So
Nola.
NOLA, yeah, exactly. So Hannah will be back in school. It was supposed to be October. They backed it up to November. I think the first few months is online shit, so no in person.
Yeah.
But it's in Cologne, so that's where we're going to be moving to, probably in October. Trying to find an apartment, get a little flat in Cologne, which is a pretty cool city, pretty beautiful city. Got a river going right through it. It's a pretty cool little spot. So, but it's not cheap. I mean, just a standard 2-room apartment, like a 2-room, maybe 30 square meter apartments, like $800 to $1,000 a month, euros a month.
Yeah.
So, to find something that works for us, the right location, close to school for her, is a bit of a challenge, but we're going to figure it out. So it's no problem.
You can't work there either?
So on a tourist visa, no, obviously, but I think once I'm going to do some schooling, I guess, as well. I'm going to take a German language course, and I'm going to apply for a visa, like a 1-year visa.
Yeah.
And to go along with the language course, so I'm going to try, my hardest to maybe be able to talk German like a 5-year-old, which is good enough, like if I could speak like a 5-year-old in German and Deutsch, I'd be pretty happy right now.
Man.
Would make life easier.
It's a hard language to learn too.
Tough, man. It's tough. Like, there's a lot of references to English, so that's good. There's a lot of words that kind of are similar, but the amount of tenses and I won't go into it, but when you talk about language, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
and
my girlfriend was Polish German, mate, and I tried to learn a little bit, and in the end, it was just like, nah, no way. It's way too hard.
It's hard. I mean, I got some basic vocabulary and stuff. I've been on Duolingo for, I don't know, the past 6-8 months, going through the lessons and feeling pretty confident with some of the stuff I know. But you go into straight talking with a German or talking in their native tongue, it's just, I get lost 3 words in,
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother animal, but that's the goal. Get the visa that I could stay there for a year, lock down an apartment for a year. And then who knows from there? I'm not sure if she won't be done with school, but there's some possibilities to do like some semesters abroad, maybe in Canada, or we didn't see any for Australia, but we saw Canada, the US, and then other parts of Europe.
Yeah.
So we might swing and do that. Go live in Vancouver for 6 months, or go live, I don't know, Spain for 6 months or whatever. Come next year, possibly. So.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, man, it's looking good. But we're happy. I'm happy. Finally, even with all the restrictions, I was able to make it here, which is really not. Anyone thought it was really possible. Like, you read all the government regulations and all the requirements and all the restrictions and the exemptions and all these things, and I felt like I had a valid enough reason to get in. So I did it the right way, and luckily didn't have to ask a single question.
Yep.
Nothing, I came in through Croatia and got stamped right in Germany, no questions asked. Everything was good, and been here about 2 weeks now, so quite happy about that.
Yeah. When it first, like, this fucking virus first started, it was like our country went mad. Like, everyone started going shopping for toilet paper, and like that was sold out. Like, and it was like, what the fuck? Like, like, really, is that the only thing? Anyway, and then then what we heard on the news, and in America, it was like people went out shopping for toilet paper and guns. Like, what the?
Yeah. That's it, man.
What the hell?
I mean, you got to be able to wipe your ass, and you got to be able to protect yourself. I mean, when shit hits the fan, and to be honest, if you think about how everything went, if you watched any of these zombie apocalypse movies, we were about 2 steps in the wrong direction from being right there. Like it would have been just like freaking Walking Dead. Two more steps to wrong. You know what I mean? Like kill the power for 3 days, and freaking the world goes nuts. You know, or cut the banks, cut money to the banks, or getting money out of the bank, and everybody's running around with no money, no power. It's freaking it's Walking Dead shit, man. It's World War Z. You know what I mean?
The year's not over yet, Trav. It's still gonna happen.
Oh, it's not, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know what level on Jumanji we're on right now. I think it's like level 7 or level 8, whatever. But fucking Robin Williams got to get together, The Rock, somebody. I mean,
It's
getting a bit.
it's at the stage now where, like, if you don't laugh about it, like, people are just gonna cry because it's seriously.
True.
It's the most, like, everyone's just praying for January 1st, you know, like, all I'm saying, just a crazy situation. Let's get on to some positive shit. I fucking hate talking about the virus.
Exactly.
So I've got a couple of questions for you. If
Sounds
you pick 1, 2, 3, or 5 places that you've been along your travels, I know you've been to 60-something countries, or
yeah, probably 50 something. I haven't really fully counted it. I know I'm somewhere in the 50s, I guess. Yeah. Overall,
if you could pick, I know it's hard to pick one, or but if you got to a sort of point, could you 1, 2, 3 places that you'd actually live?
Yeah. So you know, coming from the States, I've done a lot of traveling in the U.S. when I was a kid growing up. And, you know, whenever I had free time, my family loved traveling growing up too. So we've been to basically every state in the U.S. at some point, you know, on different trips or whatever. I would definitely say I would not put the U.S. on the list. If I would put the U.S. on the list, I would live exactly where I'm at in New Orleans area. You know, family's all around there. I would probably try to live in the city. I would probably get like a condo and live the city life for a bit. I think that would be pretty cool. It is a very cool city to live and explore. And, you know, you can do a lot on foot. You don't need cars and all these things, which is nice. But I would probably say, I mean, for sure, one on the list is Australia, 100%. I love the whole country. Obviously, you know, we'll probably get to this later, but I did like 10 months traveling around Australia. Bought a 1990s model Land Cruiser Prado, you know, like the cheap backpacker style Land Cruiser, and decked it out for camping and hit the road and did the full loop through the country, like 10 and a half months, something like that. Almost 60,000 kilometers of driving. So I love the country. And I would probably say either Sydney or Melbourne would be, I would say Melbourne would be in my 30s, no kids, perfect place to hang out, St. Kilda Beach, somewhere in the city. It's hip, it's cool, lots of cool restaurants, places to chill. And then when you get to that stage in life, maybe when you got kids, you want to move out to the suburbs. I could easily see in Sydney, living out in Sydney somewhere, you know, equally cool city. Definitely not maybe city life, but more on that outskirts of the city. Yeah, you know, living a bit. And then for sure now in Europe, like this is my first try at, say, living somewhere, actually living, not traveling, but this is the first time in probably 2.5 years that I unpacked my bags for good. And I've got an actual, you know, I've got my clothes in like a normal dresser or normal bin, you know, like where you put clothes at, like in a closet. Yeah, it's like to have a closet space to hang clothes, like, you know, that's just unheard of for me. I've been living out of a 40-liter backpack for over 2 years. But I would definitely say, like, now here in Germany, it's very centralized. You know, the idea of living in Europe to me is just awesome because everything's so close. You know, for example, we're here in Germany. We can go to the North Sea from here, which is only maybe a couple hours drive. It's supposed to be a beautiful coastline up there. Later this year, if all goes well, we're going to do a big road trip, like a 2-week road trip down to Italy, through Austria and then through Italy. Maybe try to hit Croatia possibly on the way back. But you know what I mean? Like the fact that it's so centralized, I don't care where you're at. excuse me, in Europe, you could pretty much go anywhere on a cheap,
Yeah.
30 € flight. You can be anywhere in Europe you want to be. Or if you got a car, 6, 8 hours, which is nothing for Aussie standards because, we would drive 6, 8 hours a day sometimes just going from place to place.
Straight through the desert.
Yeah, straight to the desert. So that's nothing, for me to do a road trip 6, 8 hours and you've passed through 4 countries to do it. That's like insane really when you think about it. But yes, I would definitely say Australia is on the list. Me and Hannah both said we would love to come back. We could easily see living there one day. It is obviously it's a bit far from my family, her family. So that's probably the biggest kind of like, kind of thing maybe to not push us that way. But yeah, there, Europe, I would say right here in Germany would be perfect. Awesome country, nice people. Maybe a bit expensive, compared to other European countries. If you were able to go, say, out east a little bit, go to Poland or maybe even down to Austria, it might be even a little cheaper and, maybe, place, depending on where you want to live, money-wise. And then back home, obviously. Home is where the heart is, So for me, New Orleans is big in my heart and always will be. And, lots of other cool places to travel, but living, that would be my 3, I would say.
With us, our borders are going to be closed for the next, foreseeable future. So
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, where was one of the best places or like a couple of the best places that you went to in Australia?
Okay, yeah. So in Australia total or Victoria or just in general, everywhere?
We'll go in Victoria, but then you obviously you drove around the whole country. So a couple of nice little tips would be good just because like I've traveled heaps, like I've traveled a lot of the world, but I've never been to Western Australia. I've never been never been in the Northern Territory. Just a couple of tips on one Victoria and one maybe, couple in Australia.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll give you like a top 5, say, for Australia as a whole. And I would definitely say probably 2 of those are in Victoria. So right off the rip, probably the coolest thing, craziest thing, we'll get to the story, I'm sure, later, but Wilson's Prom, top notch, cool ass place to visit. Like, I don't care if you're in Victoria, if you're in New South Wales, anywhere in the country. If you're into outdoor stuff, you're into camping, pushing your body to the limit, even though you probably, shouldn't if you're not prepared for it. But I would say Wilson's Prom, some of the best views, some of the most secluded beaches. After you hike, I don't know, 30 kilometers to get to it, But no, it's really, it's a cool place, and that place, funny stories coming out of that place. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later. But
I got a couple of
Wilson
videos.
Prom. Oh yeah, that's good. Then I would probably jump across and say the stretch of road between, say, Melbourne and Adelaide, Great Ocean Road, the Grampian Mountain Ranges, like that frickin' drive. Obviously it's very touristy. A lot of people do it, but there's a reason for that, because it's just a beautiful, beautiful coastline. If you're in, again, to the hiking or the biking or whatever, there's these trails that you can do all by walking, all by biking, like, 100-kilometer trails that'll take you all through these coastlines. Really, really nice views. The Grampian Mountain Ranges, it's a little bit of a detour kind of north, or it's like a triangle sort of from Melbourne to Adelaide, if you will. So again, huge cliffs overlooking like these big valleys, and really nice place to camp. Lots of wildlife, really, really super cool. And then I would probably jump down to, oh man, I can't remember the whole name, but like Margaret River area and down towards Esperance. There's like a really famous campground slash national park. Cape Le Grand is the name of it, actually. And most probably some of the most beautiful white sand beaches, kangaroos on the beaches, hanging out with you at the campground, like coming up to you. You know, so many different caves if you're in the caves and stuff like that. Margaret River's got the wine, the cheese, all the different snack stuff, like pretty touristy as well, but still very cool. And then I know I'm jumping all sort of around, but for me, my number one in all of Australia is in WA, so Western Australia. The drive from Perth up to Exmouth, specifically. Right before Exmouth, there's a few little cuts along the coast that you go to. It's like all 4-wheel drive tracks, really beautiful. Some of the most fun that we had as a group, because we had 6 of us traveling, 3 vehicles, and a Steep Point. That's the name of it. Sorry, Steep Point. Man, if you got a 4-wheel drive, spend the time, figure out how to get there. It is by far the best. Like, it's not going to be crowded. There won't be anyone around you. You'll have private beaches that are beautiful. You'll build a camp 10 meters from the water. The freaking dolphins will be swimming in the morning. It's like, it's magical is what it is. And that whole little stretch around there is just amazing, you know? And then when you leave Steep Point, you work your way towards Exmouth. You can do the diving with whale sharks at a certain time of the year, obviously. Some of the diving or some of the snorkeling is, in my opinion, even as good or better than the Great Barrier Reef all the way on the east side, you know? So it's really, to me, the west side is where it's at. Yeah. Not as nearly as many people. To me, more friendly people. It's more of a slower sort of pace of life. So a lot of people you meet there is going to be travelers. It's going to be some gray nomads. It's going to be families with the freaking massive caravan pulling with the 6 kids, you know. I mean, that's what you're going to meet. It's a dream. You know, it's really, really nice. There's lots of national parks inland, you know, like inland from Exmouth, Carangini, and a few other places that are just it's just beautiful, you know. It's like, I look at home, for me, it's like, you know, parts of the Grand Canyon and parts of these Joshua Tree and all these different places that are like hiker and outdoor fanatic paradises. Australia's got it all, and it's only a few hours from like the most amazing diving and the most amazing snorkeling and the most secluded beaches. Like, we truly, the 6 of us in our little group, we were living like a movie life. Seriously, like it was probably the most amazing. That's probably what sealed the deal for me and Hannah as well. That was, when we talk about Australia, we both instantly think about Steep Point. You know, the magic that happened there, you know, was pretty awesome. There was a lot of magic happening there. Lots of magic happening there, you know. So, so I would definitely say those 3 places. And then I don't want to discount the East Coast or the Northern Territory. There's obviously some cool places in Northern Territory. But to get
the top ones,
get there, it's so tough to get there. So, you know, for the beginners or for the ones that say, hey, I got 2 weeks or whatever, or 3 weeks, whatever you got, a month, fly to Perth, do a nice road trip up from there, or, you know, organize some kind of trip to go up towards Exmouth. If you're in Melbourne, say, for example, east or west, man, go east, go to Wilson's Prom, work your way up towards Sydney, not all the way to Sydney, but go around the bend, so to speak. And there's some of the most beautiful beaches over there. Or go west and see, you know, Great Ocean Road and hang out in the mountains for a bit. And then, and we even went all to, what's that?
Grampians is unreal. I went there a couple of months ago, and I forgot how good it was. Like, I hadn't been there since school, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I'll be honest, the time that me and you, we took the weekend trip out and went up to was it Sovereign Hill or like the coal mining town?
Ballarat,
like, dude, 34 years old, and I was stoked. I was sitting there panning for gold with the little 5-year-old kids and having a blast, you know. So
yeah,
that could be
fun, mate.
fun.
Like That
How you
was, I
going there,
haven't been
mate?
there since school either, and like
Yeah.
I genuinely had a good time. Like it's set up
Is that a
so
nugget?
well. Like Victorian tourism, it would have been taken such a hit, but I
Yeah.
think everyone is just going to really rally behind because the moment we're allowed to go and do something, it's going to be chaos. Like,
It is,
um,
man.
but yeah, it's good. All right, if have you taken a souvenir from any place? Like when I first started traveling, I was trying to buy a key ring or like a fridge magnet from everywhere, and in the end, it just got way too much of a hassle. So, I mean, you end up with like myself. I ended up with photos everywhere. But have you like I know mates that have kept like a monetary note from places or a coin or
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's my that's sort of my style. I obviously try to send some postcards home to family and friends, and I think that's kind of cool to look back on. Like for example, my parents had a section in one of the rooms. They had a wall that they were putting all the postcards together, which is pretty neat. Kind of a souvenir, sort of. But for me, I like to collect money. I like money from everywhere I go. That's my biggest thing. So coins or paper currency, whatever it may be, if it's something cool or unique, I gotta have it. Like I really want it. I try actively to not spend certain bills or find the nicest ones, and shove them in the bag. And I think the funny story is the first run through Europe in 2018. I just like I had an issue getting rid of coins and getting rid of cash because I always thought like I want to have one of every coin, one of every paper money, as long as it wasn't too expensive. I was like I wanted one of each kind of thing. And after 10 or 11 months through Europe, I come home for the first time to visit for Christmas, and I had a bag, like a sack, that was probably 2 or 3 kilos of just freaking coins. And the last 6 or 8 flights home, heading home, I was always getting pulled out the line, always getting stopped because they had this big ball of metal in my freaking backpack. Uh, yeah, so I've since then learned, like, yeah, I'm not going to go that crazy anymore. But I definitely like to have, at least $1 bill or a couple dollars or, some kind of paper currency, maybe a few coins, but try to get rid of as much coin as possible. Coin's heavy as shit. And when you only got a
Yeah.
40-liter pack, you've got no space, I'm not a big magnet person you know, or these patches or anything like that. So, you know, I don't really need, my brother, I would say, on the other hand, is a big magnet guy. He's everywhere he goes, he's got to buy a magnet or a T-shirt or something. Which you imagine if you're traveling for 10 months, 11 months out the year, and you've only got a 40-liter pack that's full when you start the trip, where do you put all this, So money's pretty easy and pretty cool. And I think once or twice since I've been home to visit, I've pulled out my wad of bills and coins and showed them to my little nieces and nephews and family, and they get a kick out of it just like I do, like reliving. There's always a story behind every country I've been to and every to go, and it's pretty cool to kind of like tie all that together.
But that you will like you obviously travel for extended periods. Is there one thing that you take which you just won't go without? Obviously your passport.
Yeah, passport's obviously number one. That can get you some trouble, I guess. You lose that thing. For me, man, my electronics, like I have these Bose quiet, noise canceling headphones. I would have never have spent the money to buy a pair for myself. But when I first was leaving, it was around, between my birthday and other things. And my aunt and uncle splurged and bought me a pair because they travel and they love them. They have them. And that was like my going away present from them. And I tell them every day I see them still that was the best gift I've ever gotten in my life. Like it's the most for flights, for trains, buses, you name it. Like I did tons of that the first year. And just to have your own space for once in a hostel with 8 other people, 20 other people in the room, those to me were like gold. You know what I mean? Like when I'm the most sociable person, I'll hang out and party with anybody. But sometimes you just want to have that downtime where you just want to be in your own little world.
Yeah.
And those headphones, seriously, I would never, ever, ever leave home without those quiet canceling, whatever
Noise
headphones.
canceling. Yeah.
And if this ever gets famous, Bose, you can like sponsor me if you want, like send me a few free pair. I'll try all your products. It's all good, like seriously, I'm your biggest fan. Uh, and then
You didn't even buy him, you tight ass.
I know, right? Send me some new ones. I want those 700s, I mean, no. But and aside from that, I would probably say I've got like these hard drives that I have movies and videos, and I can like download all my pictures and stuff on. That's pretty important when you're doing these long trips, just to be able to hold all your content, as you go.
Do you put all your photos into folders, or is it just literally back them up on the cloud, back them up on the hard drive, and
that's
one day you'll sort through them?
Exactly. I'm not organized enough to do them properly. I should be. I have the time. It's not that I don't, but lately, or at least during the travels, I just once a month, once every 2 months, just throw them on the hard drive and pray they're still there down the line.
Do you send a hard drive home or anything like that? When I was living away, like I'd sort of, obviously you get them on your camera and your SIM card on your phone and chuck them all on a hard drive, and then I'd normally chuck them on a USB as well and post that home just in case something happened, like for a boat flooded or a night on the piss and I'd get mugged or some shit like.
Right. No, I mean, I never did because I always knew I had the cloud sort of for the photos and videos. I've got the cloud storage that's got like, I don't know, 200 terabytes or whatever, or 2 terabytes or something like that, which is plenty of storage for everything that I had. But the hard drives, no, they were pretty big, pretty bulky. Like they were like the 5 terabyte hard drives. So, a little bit of weight, take up a little bit of space. But I think when I went home years in the past, I just dropped it off, picked up a new one kind of thing. So there's a hard drive at home somewhere floating around. It's got, I don't know, 50,000 pictures on it and some videos. And I got a buddy back home that sets me up with like the new movies and videos and stuff. He'll load it up. So I'll have some content to when I'm offline, off the grid, just plug it right into the laptop and any movie that's out right now, So that's been pretty good too. I like my movies. I like my videos. I like to, when I am done and just want to do my own thing, that's kind of my go-to, either chill out on Netflix or find something on the laptop to watch. So it's good.
Your favorite beer?
Man, so you're drinking my favorite beer in Australia for sure. Furphy's, obviously, it's my favorite beer. That I got started on that when I first got into Sydney. We had like one of my first nights out with some of my buddies some of my mates in Sydney that I had met also in Europe the year previous. They took me out one night and this bar was doing some kind of I don't know, some kind of deal like you buy a Furphy, you get a scratch off ticket and you can win hats, t-shirts, keychains, all this stuff. And I don't know how many freaking beers we bought that night. I don't know, 50, 60, 70 beers. We had hats, shirts. We had everything you can imagine. And I had a keychain. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do with a keychain? And, I had no use whatsoever for a keychain. And then about 2 weeks later, I bought the Land Cruiser. And I was like, I felt like the whole thing was meant to be, man. Like Furphy's was the start of everything great in Australia for me, So, so it's hard to throw all that on one thing, but
Furphy's changed my life.
Furphy's changed my life. So again, Furphy, if you ever watch this video and you get sponsored or something, steer them my way.
I'll if you want, I'll send you a couple. I'll give us your address and I'll send you a 6-pack of cans or something.
Fuck yeah, man. That sounds good. Yeah. And then so beers overall in the US, I would say before traveling, my kind of go-to beer was Dos Equis, believe it or not. not even really.
Mexican.
I guess it's more of a Mexican beer, yeah. But that was kind of my go-to before, and you know, I mean, when you grow,
close to the border.
yeah. When you're growing up, you kind of drink whatever beer's in the fridge at home, you know, like whatever your parents might have. And then you start graduating and buying your own shit, and you realize, like, you know, what you do like. And I mean, really any free cold beer is good beer. But yeah, the Seconds was my jam. Sure.
That's a keys. Play you something and see if you remember this. I don't know if you know what's coming or not, but
I think maybe I do. It has to do with our Irish friend Patty, then for sure I'm definitely, I haven't heard this in a long time.
Yeah, when we in Geelong, obviously been at the footy. It was that your first game or was it the second game? Because I know you'd been to the G. We took you to the G.
Yeah. That was the very first game. You got me the hat, which I should have freaking wore the hat, man. I still have the hat, by the way.
You still got it?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. It's my go-to. Believe it or not, Hannah actually stole it from me. So now she wears it all the time. But it's right upstairs. It's right upstairs in the room. And you got me the scarf and all. And we get down there, and it's an awesome day. Everything's perfect. And then like 5 minutes into the game, it starts pissing down raining the whole time, and we're soaking fucking wet watching this footy game. Yeah.
So that was your first game, wasn't it?
That was the first game, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
pretty.
And so it was Paddy, it was Paddy's first, like my mate from Ireland. It was his first game as well. A nice road trip. I think it was his first night in Melbourne too.
Yeah. I think so.
And drive down there and night on the piss. So it was Geelong. I can't remember. It might have been Geelong and Melbourne.
I think it might have been Melbourne, yeah, because whoever it was, they kicked their ass, man. It was like 140-40 or something like that. It was just a blowout. Yeah. So
it was a night on the beers as well.
Oh, that night was insane too. And I remember at the game, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but I'm sitting there. We got our little group of friends. You've got all your your Geelong friends, and then some of their friends. And I forgot, 2 or 3 times when we scored, everybody's high-fiving each other, right? And I turned to the guy next to me, thinking he's one of the Geelong guys. I'm like full on, like, yeah, man, high five. And he's giving me this dirty ass looks, you know. And then, like, I think 2 or 3 times later, he wanted to fight my ass because he thought I was doing it on purpose, thinking he was, you know. I was like, shit, dude. Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I thought it was our friend next to us, but, you know, it is what it is.
That was good, mate. It was fucking funny.
Yeah.
We ended up obviously winning by a fair bit, and then going out. I think we went to Lammy's and a few other different bars afterwards. But you and me were like sitting there just going, right, that's it, had enough. Let's get the hell out of here. And the little Irish mate was sitting there going, come on, let's stay. Coney, I want to stay. It was like, mate, this is shit. They're about to close. Like, looking heavy. And then, wake up in the morning and I've got like fucking 20-something missed calls from him. And then message, mate,
do you have the voice?
Please fucking answer. Like this thickness. Yeah.
This. Yes.
Yeah.
Mate, obviously my cheeks are
we probably watched that video, listened to that video like 50 freaking million times, and I still don't know what the piss he was so happy about.
Neither does he.
I mean, what ended up happening? He woke up like in a freaking closet at a freaking
Well,
hotel.
he couldn't remember where he stayed, where we were staying, and he got lost from us. And then his phone went dead because we were obviously in sleep. Well, that was like 3 hours later. I don't know what he was doing. He's got no idea what he was doing. And then he rings us. We were sitting there just going, "What the fuck? How are we gonna get it? What do we do?" Like, he's in Geelong.
Yeah.
He's never been to Melbourne, let alone Geelong. And then
We're
ended
calling the
up
hot.
sitting there. And we ended up driving around, like, go for breakfast. I couldn't eat because I was so hungover. We're sitting there, and I was just like drinking pints of water. And then we're like, "Fuck, let's go to the Furphy's Museum or the Furphy's like brewery." So we go there, have a look around. Then we're still sitting there. By this stage, it's like 12 o'clock. Still haven't heard from him. His phone's off. I'm ringing the police stations, ringing the hospitals, thinking, what the fuck? And then, so I'm like, listen, and you had to get on the Spirit of Tassie that night as well, I think.
Yes, I did.
Get back to Melbourne. So then we sit there like, look, what do? We got to drive back. So start driving back, and I'm ringing him the whole way. And then we get to like 20 minutes out of Melbourne, and then he rings. And I'm like, what the hell? He goes, mate. He says, he says, where are you? I said, we're on our way back to Melbourne. He says, fuck, I woke up in the laundry at some cheap hotel. I couldn't remember where he was staying. So he says everywhere was booked out because of the footy. And then they end up like, he just goes, look, you can pay $200 and sleep in the laundry. So he ends up sleeping in the laundry. And then ends up getting an Uber back to Melbourne. Oh, my head's hurting.
Yeah. And the worst part, or really the best part of the whole fucking story, is the asshole had a key to our hotel room the whole fucking time in his pocket.
That's right. That's
He
right.
would have just looked in his fucking pocket.
That's right, because he goes, Coney, I couldn't remember the name of the hotel we were staying. And I was like, Paddy, I gave you the key before we left. And he goes, what? And then he's in the fucking taxi, pulls out the key, goes, Geelong Motor Inn. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, motherfucker had the keys to the room the whole time.
Oh,
That was hilarious.
yeah,
That was an expensive night for him for sure.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like, expensive night. Like, I think it was like a $220 fucking taxi back to Melbourne.
Yeah. Not to mention the closet, $200 closet room the night before. But he had a good night.
And he missed his flight back to Melbourne, back to Sydney the next day.
True, he sure did. But it wasn't all bad for him, Like, I convinced a few girls at the club that he was Conor McGregor's cousin, and I think that worked in his favor. At least set him up for the night. So
want to explain why he's going? Yes.
Yeah.
He's still got no idea what that was either. Like, absolutely not an idea.
I don't have a clue, man. But whatever it was, I'm happy for him. It's a good night.
Yeah. I think he was pretty happy. It was a good night.
Yeah, it was.
But,
that's awesome, man.
Back to the prom, because I fucking skipped through that when I was going through the pictures. But
oh man, yeah.
Man, that was a fucking brutal hike. So this is obviously when going through the Wilson's prom, the Southern Circuit. It's like 50-something Ks. Brutal shit. This is photo from Refuge Cove.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah, so Telegraph Saddle, that was where we started. And then Little Waterloo Bay, that was where we spent the first night. And then, remember it was pissing down rain. And on the morning, it was Anzac Day. So it was the 25th of April. We went to the memorial service at the Chelsea RSL. And, like 5 o'clock in the morning, we're sitting there and we got this coffee and,
oh, man.
Look,
I think that coffee...
it was like loaded with cocaine or something. I just remember you sitting there like we barely said a word like the whole way down. the whole way down there because like I was so anxious. And then like you sit there, you're like, I don't know whether or not I've had a line of coke or I've just smoked a joint, but fucking my whole body is just like changing. Yeah, mate, that coffee.
That was the most loaded coffee I've ever had in my life. First.
Yeah, so, at 5 in the morning before a bloody memorial service. Honestly, yeah, it was just sort of set the tone. Then we drove all the way down the prom. We barely said a word. And then we get down there and it's like pissing down rain. We're both like just sort of decided we were going to do it the night before because fucking why not, you know? And then it was like pissing down rain. Like, I think it was like 11 degrees in Melbourne. So it was probably going to be like 5 or 6 down there. And it was just like, let's go. What's, you know, if the weather's that bad, we can just stop, you know? And then, yeah, I remember sitting in the car for like 40 minutes and you're like, man, I don't really want to do this.
I think at that point I was like contemplating life, you know, like, do I really want to like be that guy that has to be rescued from this place that's middle of nowhere? Like I had my regular travel bag with me, which is not a hiking bag. And we're just trying to shove and connect shit to it to make it to where we can go camping. It was it's like basically in my mind, it was like showing up for the marathon, the day of the marathon when you haven't trained at all and it's pissing down raining and you don't have the right gear, the proper gear. And everybody, you know, everybody's looking at you like, I guarantee you half these people were looking at you like, you know, where the hell these two jokers think they're going, you know?
Night we did how far was it? I think it was like 4 or 5K. We got down there, it was pissing down rain. And then went to Roaring Meg, I think was the name of the first place. We got a couple of we had a couple of, you had a bottle of Fireball and I think I had a bottle of Glavar.
Yeah.
And we both got there and we were so fucking wrecked. We didn't know the worst thing we even fucking, like, we were so underprepared and so wrecked that literally we got there and I think we both were just pissing ourselves laughing, going, what the fuck are we doing?
I mean, we had some space food with us. We had some salami, some cheeses, and yeah, we had fucking whiskey and Fireball. You know, I mean, like who brings that on a 4 or 5 day hike? You know, we got some serious hikers that's camping around us, and we're going around giving people shots of Fireball and shit. But that first night,
biscuits.
Oh, that's. And then we get to the campsite the first night, like a few hours before dark. So we decide to hike to the most southern part of Australia. I think it was, the most southern part, right? The most southern part of Australia. We're, like I said, 2 hours before dark, I guess. And it was supposed to be like a 30-minute hike to get down there. And that 30-minute hike is probably a good hour hike. So we're trying to get our way back to the campsite and it's freaking dark on us. And we're trying to, you know, do it in flashlights. Like basically we could have easily made a video of like how not to go hiking or go camping, you know, in Australia or anywhere in the world for that matter. We did everything possibly you could do wrong, but it was the most fun by far I've had.
That was grouse. Like we went down there, it was blowing a gale, like the gale force winds were just crazy down there. And then we come back and like I don't even ask for the whiskey that night. I was like so dehydrated and just sitting there just going, this is just not good. Like, I just want to go to bed. And then the next day was like one of the worst, fucking most physically challenging days I think I've ever had traveling. You know, like I think we're about an hour in. It was pissing down rain. I rolled my ankle. Like when we got down, it was like hail. It was rain. It was like the rain was coming in sideways, and then we're trying to get to this lighthouse. And then in the end, we're both like both sweating. and steam coming off her head because it was so fucking cold. Oh, it was good. Then we finally got out to the lighthouse and can't remember if we cooked up soup or like some 2-minute noodles or something, but
Yeah.
someone ended up, like the ranger ended up saying that, yeah, man, like it's real bad. Like that was one it was good fun. Good fun.
It was good fun, man. So yeah, if we met this couple that first night at the campground, who was probably in like their 50s, I guess, or late 40s, something like that. You remember the couple that was camping next to us?
Yeah.
They had the proper gear, they had the walking sticks, they had like everything. Like they do this like all the time, right? So us two, we're thinking, okay, yeah, no problem, we'll be able to hang with them. Well, we left I think around the same time, but they freaking passed us up somewhere along the way, and we ended up catching up to them at the lighthouse. But you're right. I mean, the weather was freaking horrible. We didn't have the rain gear we needed. I'm trying to find a piece of plastic to cover my bag so my freaking sleeping shit didn't get wet. Oh, it was horrible. And then we can finally see the lighthouse, and it's the most beautiful view ever. And then once we get down to like the last hike to the lighthouse, it's just straight uphill for like 2 hours probably to this freaking lighthouse. And yeah, we get there, we had some snacks, and I convinced the ranger to let us heat the water up in the ranger's camp, which worked out pretty good. Yeah, so we had some soup and got a little bit of fluids in us, and yeah, continued on.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Ended up going to Waterloo Bay, and I just remember, man, like I've never been more defeated in my life that day. Like I was sitting there, I was chafing. I was like, this is like, wet clothes. I was literally fucking hating it. I was like, this is, and like I'd talked about this refuge cove, like saying that it's like my favorite place in Australia. Like we love going there. It's like, we always go there like either by boat, and like this is the first time to hike there. And like I was ready to give up before we even got there because the weather was so bad. And then, yeah, we got there, the campsite was like almost full. And then we met those like 7 chicks. And then like, they were all sitting there. And in the end, I was just like, fucking, do you guys want some whiskey? And like, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I didn't feel like drinking it last night. Because we needed, like, I needed something to kickstart me. Like it was freezing cold, and
yeah, we were giving them all shots for breakfast. They were going the opposite direction as us, and yeah, we're passing out whiskey and Fireball to the whole campground to start their mornings.
Yeah. Just because, again, like we were that tired and just wanted to get rid of the actual extra weight in the bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything was soaking wet. The whole night was wet. Tent was wet. It's those days were rough, man. And then we keep going and we go to I guess it was Refuge Cove was the next spot, really, huh?
Refuge Cove, and then Sealer's Cove is the one we just walked straight through.
Yeah. And man, I'm gonna tell you, like for me, the whole thing was crazy. Like, I'm impressed we did it, honestly. Like, I was contemplating quitting so many times. I was hating it. Like, there were so many parts of it that I was like, don't even talk to me, like I just want to be pissed just because I want to be pissed off that I'm having to do this. But yeah, man, I mean, we freaking ended up making it at the end. Like, I think we got down to Sealer's Cove or Refuge Cove. We're out of water, and we've got these drops that we can drink, like, groundwater.
The iodine drops, yeah.
Yeah, and I go to get water, and it ends up being fucking salt water because the water is like the groundwater was like getting taken over because of the tide. So I'm like, dude, how are we gonna live? I mean, we're out of water. We're freaking dying of thirst. We're 3 days into this thing, or 2 days in. We've got no water between the two of us, and the only water I can find is fucking salt water, And oh, dude, it was horrible night. But we met some cool people along the way. The views in Refuge Cove, Sealer's Cove were amazing. Like those stretches where we walked across the beach, like it looked like the freaking island. Like I felt like I was like Leonardo DiCaprio or something, like exploring some freaking new island that no one's ever seen before. Like that's what it truly felt like. It's blowing hard or what? It's freaking blowing. She sure is blowing. Woo!
We are the most southern point of Australia.
It's a little hard to explain this one, but it's raining, it was hailing, still raining, sun is bright and out, but look at that view. I mean, come on, tell me it ain't worth it. Don't get it though. If you don't like the weather, they say wait 15 minutes, but here, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 seconds. What was that? How you going?
Fuck off.
It's a nice little rock. Smart man. I think we all finished off together, and we get to the top, and we're both like, you know, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're so excited and happy to be there. And we see the big old van. I mean, the big old bus that's to pick us up and bring us back to the camp, to the parking lot. And I could have freaking died, man. I was like, I was gonna kiss everybody there, you know. It was by far, if it's even possible, it was probably the worst week and the best week of my life in terms of what we accomplished. You know what I mean? Like some of those points were some of my lowest points. Like I was just willing to be like, dude, just freaking call somebody to airlift me out of here. Like, you know, I can't go another freaking meter, you know? And I know there was points when you, with your leg, that you were feeling the same way.
Oh, mate, I was ready. At one stage, I was ready to burst out crying.
Yeah.
but it was,
Seriously.
I'm telling you, like I've done much longer hikes and like in snow, you know, but like that wind and just because we were so underprepared, like that, mate.
Yeah.
And half an hour into that second day, I rolled my ankle and like I was like ready. I was like a 2-year-old throwing toys. Like I was ready to just lose my shit. And then, it's just one of those things, mate. Like, we probably couldn't have picked a worse weekend to ever do that. You know, like it was, it was literally like, it would have been 3 or 4 degrees and the rain going sideways, it was hail, and we had nothing, you know, like we were not prepared at all. Like we had this tiny little gas cooker to fucking hook this shit up and trying to stop it from burning. And we were both that exhausted from like carrying, like, I don't know how heavy, how extra heavy, how many extra kilos it was, like with the luggage being soaking wet the whole time. But next time I do that, I'm going to be doing I'll be doing it much better prepared.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I would never say I wouldn't do it again. I would absolutely do it again. But this time around, I'd definitely be prepared. I'd have some proper rain gear, proper bags. I mean, proper hiking packs alone would have made all the difference because of all the hiking you got to do. You know, all the uphill and downhill hiking. Yeah, it was. I just honestly cannot believe we made it how we did. It was just, you know what I mean? Everything was totally against us for that trip. You know, we were soaking wet 3 days straight, soaking wet, like could not get dry.
It all started with that fucking coffee.
That coffee, man, that did it. That was it for sure.
We were probably still charging on the Monday after that coffee.
Yeah.
But
when we stopped at the petrol station, I remember we both got out and I'm like, dude, I just need a minute to breathe, you know? Like I just need I don't know if I want to take a nap or if I want to go to a rave or what right now. Like I just so tore up.
Thanks for doing this, mate. It's been
Blast.
up. So it's it's nice to focus on a few of the positive things and the memories when like shit like this is going on at the moment. But I'm gonna the next few days try and add a few pictures in and try and do my best, editorial skills and try and work out
Nice.
how to do it. But yeah, I'll send you the link and we'll see how we go with it.
Perfect, man. I'm happy to do it with you. I'm happy to see you, drink some beers with you halfway around the world,
Yeah.
Well, hey, it was good seeing you, and keep me posted, and tell the family hello for me, and whenever you see all your mates again, all our Russian trip friends,
Yeah.
tell them all hello for me, and you're finally able to leave the country. Come see us, please.
No, I will do, mate. I'll be very good to catch up with you at some stage. But until then, this is the best shit we got, and it's
That's it, man.
it's been very enjoyable, mate. So cheers, and
Yeah,
good luck meeting the in-laws too.
I just got a message that they're coming tomorrow now, so I have the rest of the day to prepare
All
and
right,
get
sweet.
everything
Let's
ready.
get some shots into us.
Yeah, right. Come on, let's do it. No, it's all good, man.
Well, say hi to Hannah for us, and thanks very much for this, Trav.